We are back here in the podcast with Angela Briggs-Paige. Angela, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So for anyone out there who does not know you yet, they will in about 1 second. Tell us who you are, who you work for, and what you do best.
Good question. I am a chief people officer. I'm also the founder and CEO of People Power. And I think my work centers around pushing organizations to have real conversations about what it takes to create a workplace where people can thrive.
There's a lot to unpack there, but first I want to set the table. How did you, your own journey, how did you get into the people business?
I fell into the people business.
Everyone kind of falls into it, right?
Yes. So I went to school thinking I was going to be a doctor. I had, had 4 years of Latin in high school, went to college, majored in classical languages, minored in classical languages, majored in biology, and had an opportunity to work study for a dean. And she was an administrative dean, and HR fell up under her umbrella. And I had no idea what HR was.
No idea.
At that time, but I was like, oh, this is interesting. I like it. So it changed my whole trajectory. I started focusing on HR and what does that mean? And how do we create workplaces where people can thrive and the business can succeed? Now, it took me a long time to get there because I started as traditional HR, right? More policing, more compliance.
Oh, you said those words. Like when people think of HR, they're like, those are the narcs. They're the ones watching us. A lot of folks think that HR are for firing people, for benefits, like, making those final. But how do we change it? What's the right way to HR?
This is what I say. There is no business outcome that does not involve people. Revenue, innovation, customer experience, strategy, execution, all of it involves people. So if you believe that to be fundamentally true, then you also have to believe that the business function that is responsible for hiring, leading, and development is directly tied to the business results that
Yes.
organizations need. So I like to tie it to there. So if you have that data and you go in with a recommendation based on the data, you are part of the conversation and not behind the conversation. I like to say that we started in HR because we got really good with processing. And we forgot about
process.
Yes, we forgot about influencing and really being a part of the conversation that drives the business forward.
Well, let's talk about your own little journey there. Like when you started out in this world, I assume you had a great mentor. You learned under somebody. How did that person teach you the ropes? Like how did that person show you? Listen, there is process in HR, but how do you make it more people focused? How did you learn growing up in this world?
That's a good question. I had a fantastic mentor and he would challenge me. He would do the push, which I really liked. So when I would say, this is what something that I'm recommending, he would say, well, let's stop and tell me, what does that mean for the business? What's the bigger why behind we're doing that? And that really challenged me to stop saying, yes, fundamentally, we have to have the foundation and that's important. But at the end of the day, we're business people who specialize in HR and we've got to drive the business forward.
So I don't do this a lot, but I think it's a lot of fun. Let's go back to like one of your earlier HR jobs. Share a story with us when you thought you were doing the right thing. You thought you had somebody's best interest at heart, but you're actually doing them a disservice and led them in the wrong direction. And what did you learn from that? So we don't do this stuff. We don't go back to the stories that taught us
Yes.
that we learned from.
I think that, vulnerably, I harmed people. So I think that when you're thinking about a good example is leave, right? And we had someone who had used up all their leave allowance and they really weren't able to come back to work at that time, but they were still having
sick or injured or something.
Yes, right? So at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, we are going to have to terminate this person. And instead of thinking, what else can we do to keep this valuable employee? I was like, we have to follow the policy. And the policy says, once they've used their allotment, then they have to be terminated. And I think that those experiences, when I look back on them, they've shown me the type of HR person I don't want to be.
Isn't that amazing when an experience happens for a reason to show you? I feel like you almost have to have those experiences, like to show you the other side, what you don't want to be.
Yes.
This is not the way our company should be. We want our people are our family, and it sounds so bullshit cliche when people say that, but like if you actually go through that mindset and treat, like, how would you treat your, listen, some of our family we don't treat great. Let's keep it real.
True.
But in the positive light of how would I want to be treated, the golden rule. So what did you do with that lesson? How did you take it moving forward?
I think that's when I started thinking about flexibility and how important that is to organizations, and how we don't want to lose the people who are really good performers. So what can we do within our constraints to retain the best people? And sometimes that means that the policy is a guideline instead of something that we have to follow religiously.
So let's talk about that for a second, about retaining and hiring employees. We are with our friends Overalls here, Life Concierge, benefits on top of benefits. In your experience, right? So there's compensation and then there's total benefits, total comp, I should say, which includes your benefits, your health and wellness, and all that. How important are those benefits in the consideration process when a candidate gets an offer?
I like to think of it.
Do they really
They
care?
do. I think there's 3 layers, and I think the order matters.
Let's talk about those layers.
Okay. So the first layer is foundation. Do we have comprehensive health insurance? Do we have dental and vision that people can afford to use? Right? Those are just foundational things that you have to have.
I mean, pause on that for a second. Afford to use is important because there's a balance between employer contributions, employee contributions, and different levels of policy.
Absolutely.
So we got the foundational benefits in order.
Yes.
What's that third layer?
The third layer is growth and recognition. Right? So are we giving opportunities for people to stretch and grow? And that means all opportunities, not people at certain levels, certain titles. Are we giving everyone an opportunity to grow? And are we recognizing that their work matters across the board?
What are some of those cool benefits that you've seen in various jobs that are like, oh, employees are really needing them, they want them, or maybe it was something they didn't know they needed, but we're offering it that they're taking advantage of?
I think caregiver benefits.
Let's get into that.
Okay. Caregiver benefits are so important. People don't leave their home life when they walk through the doors or log onto the computers. They may have a sick parent, they may have a sick kid, they even may have a pet that needs to be taken care of. We have to be thinking about the whole life, right? And how do we create opportunities where people feel like that's being taken care of so they can perform successfully?
Well, let's talk about that. Aging demographic, our parents are getting older, the boomers are aging out there, and we're getting to a real interesting point in the workplace where we're going to have to start taking care of our parents, and that's going to take time, it's going to take money, it's going to take resources, but it's also going to take that mental toll. I mean, even when I start to even like think about it in my head, I don't want to think about it. So if there was a company or a product, I mean, like Overalls out here, that's going to be able to help you navigate that, how important would that be in the current employee offering and candidates coming into, like, how important would that be? How would you position it? Like, how would you get it to a point where it's part of the consideration process?
It's drastically important because it gives employees peace of mind. If I don't have to worry about this, I can focus on work for this amount of time. If I know that there is a benefit that I can use that will give me opportunities to take care of my aging parent, or someone can come in and give them their medication while I'm working.
So amazing.
So amazing, right? And you can't buy peace of mind. It's there for them so they can feel better that their parents, their children, their fur babies are taken care of.
Now, you can't buy peace of mind, but a company could offer you peace of mind options.
Absolutely.
They can offer you peace of mind options. And one of the really cool things I love about Overalls too is they have incredible US-based experts that help folks navigate elder care, senior care, how to navigate financial and mental wellness too, and put them in a way where it's accessible. There's a lot of places back in the day when these offerings start to come out there at various companies, you're like, oh crap, I don't want HR to know that I am calling about mental wellness, mental health. I don't want them to know I'm dealing with elder care, because then it's going to throw a flag.
Yes.
And that's kind of what's cool about they do here, where here's the contact information for Overalls. Here's how you do it on your own. It's just offered.
Yeah.
We're not going to track it. We're not going to monitor it. And yes, there's obviously utilization rates on there. How do you work within your team to justify that to senior level executives? There's a cost to a service like this. How do you justify that cost? How do you justify that ROI from a hiring perspective and from a current employee retention perspective?
Such a great question. So I think it's the cost of absence. So when you think about this, if my employee has to be gone to take care of this, there is a dollar value attached to that. And we need to be thinking about that, right? Also, presenteeism is real. So you can be present at work and not working, and that is a cost attached to that.
This is a good one. This is a good one. All right, let's get into this. I'll not even have this on my bingo card here. You could be at work. You could be remotely at work, but you could be completely signed off. You could be
Absolutely.
clocked out. You could be thinking about other stuff. You could be thinking about your parents. You could think about your dog. You think about your broken eye.
Absolutely.
Peace, the ROI of peace of mind.
Yes.
I think that's what overalls does here.
Yes.
So let's just play a little role play here. You have a senior, it's always a CFO, right?
Yes.
It's always a CFO.
Yes.
How would you pitch a CFO on a product or a service like that?
Yeah. I probably would see what kind of data can I get, right? So if I'm looking at absence rates, so if I can pull the hours and figure out what those absences may be related to, or just a fraction of what those absences may be related to, and multiply that times the hourly wage, I want to get that figure.
I love it.
Right? And I want to look at the people who are on leave, right? So if people are on leave because they have caregiving responsibilities, what is that costing us? And then that's the dollar that you get to say, okay, let's talk about the cost benefit analysis. This is what I need to pay for this benefit. And I will have people who are here, who are engaged, who are doing the work.
I'm smirking because we're also got to throw on retention.
Yes.
Right? Like the cost of replacing an employee who had to leave because you didn't give them the right tools to take care of their dog, their elderly relative,
Absolutely.
their kid. Think about how good you feel when you say, you know what? My company took care of me.
Yes.
My company took care of me, and you're talking to your friends, you're talking to colleagues, you're talking to other folks. It is a good thing. So, Angela, leave us with some words of optimism here. What is lighting you up? You walk around here, you're meeting people, you're having conversations. What's that feel-good feeling that you're getting right now? What's lighting you up these days?
I think that the people here care about the people in the workplaces. And that's what's first and foremost in their minds. How can we make workplaces better? That's what's lighting me up.
Angela Briggs-Paige, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can folks find you? Where can they connect? Where can they learn more?
Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I am there all the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.